Welcome on in. I see Miss Leah out there already. How are you doing? Welcome into the 4-1 podcast. I made it. I'm just going to say that I made it. Usually I say we made it, but I made it. So, welcome in tonight. We have a very special guest, Miss Leah Abraham. I can't wait to speak to you. We always have such a great conversation. 4-1 podcast. Please go ahead and like, comment, share, tag your friends, do whatever you need to do to bring them in. I always say that you never know what type of message you're going to get tonight. You never know what type of breakthrough is going to come. I'm always pleasantly surprised each and every time that my guests come on, and they really, night after night after night, they really just bring it. So please go ahead and like, comment, share, and the best thing that you can do is tag your friends and bring them right on in to the 411. Man, like I said, I made it. It was an interesting day today, but we here. I made it. So, song of the day, we're going to get right on into it. It's been, party season, summer season this year. Summer's here for me anyway. I don't know about y'all, but, summer ain't really officially here yet, but for me, it's here. So, song of the day, Woman by Doja Cat. I really like this song. Whenever it come on, I'm there. So yeah, off of her Planet, her album 2021. And for some reason, I don't know where I've been, but I thought that this song was like new. Apparently it's been out for a minute. So, but I'm feeling it right now. Woman, Doja Cat, off of the Planet, her album released in 2021. All right, so I want to say thank you. I always gotta come through and thank everybody that supports on the 411. Tanika Carter, the other night, she was a guest, speaker here, and she creates sneakers, custom sneakers, all types of things. And besides, the wonderful artwork that she can do when it comes to sneakers and stuff, but just the vocabulary that came from her, the knowledge that came from her, the wisdom that came from her. We bounced back and forth, and it was just great. So please go ahead and check out that replay. Miss Tanika, I want to say thank you so much. My brother, Mr. Nate Perry, all the way from Brooklyn, New York. Love New York, and we got some great things coming up from the New York side. Alex Coquito. So we got a show every Saturday. It's Midnight Vibes. So I've been off for a minute. I was, traveling and doing my thing. But we're coming back tonight. So please, after we get done the 4-1 podcast, if you can please go ahead and follow Alex Coquito on YouTube and check me out. I'm going to try to stay up. I'm going to try to stay up and make Midnight Vibes work. But yeah, we're going to do it tonight. Me, Sam, all the way from Iran. Here's another thing. So this is like international. We got some international love going on. We got some international respect going on. But when we speak to people from Dubai, Iran, South Korea, stuff like that, this is how you know that the thing is just way, way, way bigger than anything that I could have ever imagined or created. So I got to give credit where credit is due, and this is just not my I couldn't do it by myself. Pretty much, just put it that way. Aaron, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Lamia, Michelle, again, Rowang, all the way from South Korea. Thank you for your continuous love and support. I appreciate you. Will Serve, Onyx Blade, Natalie Sky from Natalie Sky Voice Records. Thank you. And of course, I see Miss Shanti Refuge out there. Thank you so much. She has 26 journals. I love saying that. Thank you for your contribution to helping people get it together, but 26 journals to help you get it together for anything that you need in your life. Y'all, please go ahead and check out Miss Shanti Refuge at Shanti Refuge Journals on Instagram. Now, let's go ahead and rewind this thing. This was such a great topic the other night, and I'm going to pull Miss Leah up in a minute and ask her to chime in and let me know what her thoughts on this is. But when a trust is broken, Do you stay or do you go? It could go both ways. You know you can't trust somebody. You know some stuff has happened. Do you stay or do you go? We have O-shaped candles in the building. What's going on? Y'all go ahead and check out those candles. So I want to know, when the trust has been broken, what are the next steps? Do you stay or do you go? Back in the day, how I would have answered this, it would have been absolutely not. I would have been out. Done. It's a wrap. Over. That's how I used to always think, right? But now, today, as I continue to evolve and I understand, excuse me, that we can't control people, places, and things, which is so hard. I say it and I speak it out of my mouth, but then sometimes I backslide a little bit and I be trying to get in the way. But when I realize that I can't control people, places, and things, sometimes you have to accept people for exactly who they are. So if the trust is broken and you know you can't trust somebody, but you can probably still be around, you can still make moves around them. You just know you just can't go there and trust them like that. You know, I'm all right with it these days because guess what? When you break the trust, when you do something that's sideways, when you do something to make me question a situation, you're basically letting me know who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. You are untrustworthy. This is the type of person that you are. You show me who you are. Now, if I continue to go on and keep trusting you and believing that you're going to be something different than what you've already told me you are, then that's, just a shame on me. And that's just sort of beat up, banged up, whatever the case may be. But when the trust has been broken, honestly, I think the real answer is it's up to you, however you want to do it. If you're smart and you can handle and you can stay move and make best out of a situation when you know damn well that this person is what they are, and you can trust yourself and you can control yourself and make sure that you make the right moves, then it's all good. But when you want to go in there just blind and you want to be, I don't take it there, but you go in there and be blind and you want to be stupid, thinking that this person ain't gonna go ahead and do the same thing that they already told you that they was gonna do, and now you want to be somewhere in a corner, hurt up, crying, and having an issue. That's your problem because they already showed you who they are. They already told you who they are. It's up to you how you're gonna do it. Either you're gonna stay and mark and play the game the right way, or whether you're gonna go ahead and be stupid, which I think you're gonna be stupid, and that somebody gonna go ahead and show you something different when you know they ain't capable of it. That was one of the biggest mistakes in my life, is that when somebody showed me who they were, when people actually told me, guess what, I am not capable of being the person that you want me to be. Told me that. And then what did I think in my mind? Oh, it's all good. We're going to go ahead and change this situation. We're going to go ahead and manipulate this situation. We're going to go ahead and try to make you a better person because I want to make you be who I want you to be. That trust is broken. You know full well you got to do what you got to do to make it work for you. That's the bottom line. It is what it is. And y'all know what the saying is. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, so why are you even trying to do it anyway? Now, I don't know what type of show we gonna have tonight, Leah. I'm sorry that we taking it there. But now after you done did what you done did, somebody done broke the trust. If you was anything like me, you probably cussed their ass out 1,000 times up and down to the point where they don't even want to look at you anymore. Sometimes you done cuss people out so bad that you don't even want to look at yourself in the mirror. Anybody understand where I'm coming from? Because I've done it plenty of times. But the joy in it is when you can make your wrongs right. And I've learned how to make my wrongs right. And I'm not talking about I cussed you out today and then tomorrow we friends and then I'm cussing you out. Not that toxic shit that I used to be in. But when I've actually had some space, like you have left me alone for months at a time, and you have just said, I'm done with Laren. I'm not messing with him no more. He just is in it. And then I can get, I've gotten some healing, and I have reached out to a couple of people and said, yo, listen, I gotta apologize because you told me who you were, and I sat here and I tried to make up my own situation out of it. So I gotta go ahead and say, you know what, I apologize for me coming in correct. But do you believe in making your wrongs right? Now, sometimes you can't do that with everybody, but I feel good when I'm able to, make my wrongs right. And not everybody deserve it. There's some people that I have let go that you just need to stay go. You need to stay gone. Don't come anywhere near me. I don't want to know you. I don't want to see you. I will love you from a distance. I love everybody who's made a contribution to my life, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But some people you just gotta let them stay way over there. But sometimes I felt that I needed to go ahead and make my wrongs right. And how do you feel about reaching out to some people from your past and making your wrongs right? Some people don't believe in it. Some people say let the chips fall wherever they fall, and it is what it is. That person deserves whatever they got because they did whatever they did. But I truly believe that as I continue to grow and I understand that you didn't do anything to me, you did nothing to me. I'm the one who did this whole thing up. I drummed this whole thing up. I endured this because like I said, when people show you who they are, you have the choice to continue to go along with it, and it's all up to you. And as I sit back, I'm like, yeah, I remember when that person showed me the first time that they could turn up, first time that they turned around and gave me their ass to kiss. And what I do, I continue to go along with the program. So at the end of the day, when the shit goes sour, you're the only one to blame. Because when they started to cut up in the first place, you had that choice, you had that decision to make the right decision, and you decided to make the wrong decision. No need to cuss people out. No need to fuss and fight. No need to go back and forth because you did it. So after you sit back and look in the mirror and be like, I know what role I played in it. Let me go ahead and try to make my wrongs right and squash this shit up and make this thing go good so that I got some good karma coming in my life. I don't know. Do you believe in making your wrongs right? Chris says, I feel you should try to right your wrongs. Like you said, you can't do it with everyone now. Absolutely. I truly believe that there are some people that I'm just like, you need to stay exactly where you at. I want nothing to do with you. Hey, hey, hey.
Laren, I'm glad you made it. I seen what you were posting in your story and I was wondering.
Yes, I'm telling you. I said, I really do not want to have to cancel this show tonight, but I had to come home. I had to take me some Advil and I had to get in my pajamas.
It's going to be a good night.
I had to get in my pajamas, man. I was like, what's going on?
You're enjoying summer, and that's good.
Yeah, I need to tone it down a little bit. We doing too.
Well, you're conscious of it.
Yeah.
So this is a good question you're asking everybody tonight. That when trust is broken, do you stay or do you go? So it's not that easy, right? It's more complicated because there's other factors involved. How long you've been together? Do you got kids? These other factors. But initially, the question is, why were you drawn to that person in the first place? Because it always takes two people to recreate a pattern. And that's what I'm always looking at. Like, if this person, hurt you, then a pattern do you carry in you that they were able to connect to, that it could be recreated?
Okay. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. So normally I'm asking the questions, but tonight Leah is going to be asking the questions. She's going to school me tonight because we getting ready to go there tonight. So I would say that from my past, the reason why people were drawn, or I was drawn to people, is because I didn't love myself and I didn't know who I was. So because you were outgoing and you had that great personality, but I'm an introvert and I'm, shy for the most part, I'm going to attach myself to you because I'm living through you. And around
because I think I need you some way.
Yeah, and I think that, once we make it work,
I I do know. We're always looking for someone else to meet what we don't have or whatever. And so it's exactly what you said. When you don't have the trust within yourself, then it's easy for other people to break your trust. Sure, exactly what you're looking for in the first place, or if you're a good match to that person, because you're looking for these aspects in a person that you want to complete yourself. So it's about doing that inner work first, and finding that trust within yourself, and then once you're all good in here, then that partner just you attract that right partner for yourself. I want to ask you though, you just took a trip, right?
Yeah.
The last time we did a live, that was what was going on, and then I seen that you were there. I'm like, okay, well, I'm excited to. So I want to ask you, is this the person we're talking about?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. A lot of these burning questions now, 2021, I had to hit the reset button and realize that there's more people out here that need healing beside myself. 2020 was all about me just going through some rough times, and a lot of those burning questions.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, a lot of those burning questions, they were reality from my world. But now it's revisiting some of these burning questions, but thinking about it on a different aspect now that I've been healed from that nonsense.
Heck yes, you've seen it from a different perspective.
Yeah. So,
and to give it to others, I like that.
But France is a beautiful experience, and that's exactly what it is. And I will never do anything on a 4-1 podcast. So France, you good, and you know you good. So we ain't doing that. But
we ain't going there. Not today. Not today.
No, but I'm good. It was.
But I'm glad you took that trip.
I needed to. It was part of my healing process too. Because like some of these burning questions that have come up, I had to experience these things from a different aspect. So what happens when this shows up? What happens when the X shows up? What happens when all of these things I had a problem with before, I had to experience them in real life situation to see who I am today, and that showed me that I have grown up and I've become a man. Because before, hell no.
Different. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to revisit those triggers and see where we're at with them.
And then I was able to stop and say, we've seen this before. We've been here before. How are you going to handle this situation? And
conscious awareness.
When I was able to walk away, I'm like, you have grown up. You got this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And that conscious awareness is a beautiful thing, because it's like when you're in it, you're just in it. You're playing out this pattern. You react the way you always have. You get hurt. You're a victim. You attack. All of these like harmful patterns. But when you can like pull yourself out and look down on what's actually happening and say, like you said, we've been here before. Like, I recognize this. What's going on? How can I make this different from the last time?
Yeah.
And that conscious awareness is like such a big piece to changing patterns.
Yeah.
But I honor that.
Patterns have definitely been changed. There has been a different shift going on.
Yes.
So,
yes.
How have you been? Let everybody know, the 411 people, who you are, where you're calling from.
Yeah. So I'm Leah Abraham, and I work with people who are ready to begin healing their childhood trauma and seeing their addictions with new perspective. And I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. So right by Texas. Yes. New Mexico's a beautiful place. Yeah. Come visit me. We can have some fun. But yeah, so that's what I do. That's where I'm at, and I'm tuning into 411, and I'm excited to be back. This is my second time on the 411, and I'm super excited to be chatting again. So thank you for having me again, Larry.
Always a good time. You're so welcome. Last time we had someone from India come through, so I left the 411 line open as well, because I know maybe somebody would like to speak to you. So if that's the case, you can always text, or you can request live as well on Instagram. But if Leah comes through and says something that's so striking that you just have to speak to her, you most certainly can come right on through. Is that okay with you?
I'm fine with that. The last
Absolutely.
time it happened, we got some beautiful insights.
Yeah,
So
we did. So it's so interesting that you were speaking about childhood traumas because I was speaking about that the other night. And when I go back and I think about mine, it started around maybe 5, 6 years old. And I was speaking to Tanika Carter about this, that some of those things help make us, it prepares us for what we are doing today, which I never thought that I would be a podcaster. I never thought that I would be connecting with so many different people across the world. But I look back at the childhood trauma and sometimes I'm really not that upset over it like I used to be because I'm like, I get it.
that shows that you've done a lot of healing. It shows you've done a lot of healing. And that's like sometimes for people to hear that, it gets them upset. You know, that what we went through is actually preparing us for what we're meant to do and how we're meant to serve others. But if you think about it, it really is. It's the trauma, our addictions, and our purpose are all linked together. And so it's about not being afraid, first of all, to look at the traumas, because most of the time we just push them away. We don't want to go there. We don't want to revisit them. But it's important to look at them because that brings us clarity over why we may do the stuff that we do as adults, why we may have certain addictions, or why we may gravitate towards certain partners, or why we can't advance past a certain point in work. So if we look at what our life was like when we were first developing our core belief system about ourselves and the world and about us in the world, it shows us so much. And it gives us a better understanding around why we gravitate towards certain addictions. And we can have more compassion for ourselves in terms of the ways that we cope with our pain. And then from there, going to see all that and willing to do the work around all that stuff, we really do come into our purpose. We really can find our purpose. So it's an empowering realization, what you just shared with the 411.
Wow. Wait till we get to the burning questions. Because you were just touching base on all of these things that just make so much sense. So, so what's going on in your world?
You know what? While I'm getting ready for this, I was just listening to music, and you know, you're so passionate about music.
Yeah. I have to say so much. Thank you so much for the Mary stuff. I love it. I love when people understand and they know, and that comes see about me. I love it. Love it.
You know, you find artists that you connect to that sort of like sing your story, or you connect to their music, and I think it's really important to honor that, because it says a lot about the person, the type of music that you're connected to, and the type of story that's behind the music.
So right now I'm heavily listening to the Mary album, and the song that I've been listening to was The Love I Never Had. So Love I Never Had is basically, you really can't get upset about anything. You just can't flip out over it and have an issue because it's never yours to begin with. So how can you get upset, and how can you get hurt, and how can you get beat up over the love that you never really had?
That's a good question, and a lot of people do it. But the thing is, it's the expectation of expecting something to be what we think it should be.
That's the problem that we have, is we put all these damn expectations on every single thing and labels and all this other shit.
Right, instead of just accepting the way things are. If we accept the way things are, then it brings a lot more peace to our life. But if we set these expectations on a person, there are expectations. How are they going to meet those? You know,
right.
and so then we get hurt if they don't meet them.
And that's my expectations. That's not yours. Why am I putting something on you that you didn't even sign up and agree to? Yeah, I get it. But it's so it's easier said than done.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. And because most of us, that's what was modeled to us. To put expectations on people and then to be hurt when they don't meet the expectations and then to fight over it and then to, play the victim, play the other part of the person that harms you, and it's just this vicious pattern. But really it's about accepting our own self as we are. And because when we can do that, then we can accept other people for who they are. Because we're comfortable in our own skin. We don't need to set expectations upon other people to meet our needs or to make us complete. Because we find that within ourselves,
You know what I've learned about myself too, that I can accept me for who I am a hell of a lot more than I was able to do yesterday. But sometimes it's hard for me to accept you.
Yeah.
That's I get into some situations and I'm like, I know that I'm this way. But when I see that mirror and you start showing me some of the things that I do, I'm not really feeling that.
I don't really like that.
No.
And it's crazy because everyone is a reflection of
Oh,
us. That's why humans need other humans, is to reflect things back to us, the good and the bad.
Oh yeah.
And so it's important to look at it with that conscious awareness. I'm going to say that all the time because it's such an important piece, that conscious awareness to recognize, okay, they're actually mirroring something back that's in me. So if I don't like it, I got to look within and see what's going on there, that they're able to reflect that back to me in the first place.
I want to share this with you and see if this makes any sense. So we've all been in relationships. We've all played roles in relationships, right? And sometimes we don't play the best role. Sometimes we're the ones that's getting, hurt and everything else. One people, and we don't realize that we're doing it by our actions, by our words, whatever. But have you ever been in a situation where you have been the victim and then when the roles reverse, then you were actually being the person creating the harm in a new situation, and then you get into another situation and whatever you did to that person, you actually have to relive it in a different way. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Because
because
in my life, I'm like, I remember I was in this relationship and I was, playing this role and it probably was not nice, but young, dumb in your own way and you don't understand. And then you get into a new situation and then you're like, damn, this happened to me before. Is this my karma? And then it flips this way. But the last time that it happened to me, I was like, it was like 2018, 19 when I just sat on the side of the bed and I said, wow, this is crazy. I guess this is my karma, right? I guess this is my karma. So now I'm very careful because I actually saw myself. I actually saw myself in somebody else. And I was like, oh, wow, that's how I used to come across. And it made me feel very bad because of my actions in the past. Somebody actually showed me that. And I was like, okay, so now you got the lesson. Please make sure that you put out some good energy and some good vibes so that these roles don't get reversed again. But yeah, I was actually able to see myself, same exact actions that I used to do on somebody else.
That's a wonderful space to be in because it allows you the option to have compassion for the other person and also to have compassion for yourself. Because when you can see that I've played this role, I've also played this role. It's coming back to that. There isn't really like a good or a bad. There's just patterns that are being played out. And in order for a pattern to be played out, you need both parts.
I have to apologize to everybody out there because when I saw it, it was not a good thing at all. I was like,
but
wow.
You saw it.
I saw it.
And that's what you have to honor is that you saw it. Because how many people just live their life without seeing it? And when you can't see it, you can't change it.
I think that was the scary part, that I had lived my life so many years thinking that I was living right and I wasn't. And
well, you were living right at that time because you were living the rightest way you knew how at that time.
I guess.
And now you can look back at it with a little more wisdom and a little more change in perspective and a little more compassion.
Yeah,
and that's all right. And then you can share what you've been through on your 401 podcast, so other people can be like, oh, maybe I could step back and see my pattern. You know, it makes people question, like, why does this keep happening? Or, you know, why do I keep getting with somebody like this? Or if we ask the question, that brings the awareness.
Well, I want to know.
And it brings that clarity.
I want to know why.
I want to know why.
I want to know why now.
Look back at childhood. Let's go back to the childhood. That'll tell you why.
I'm like, all right, we got to get this thing together eventually. It's getting better. My choices are getting much better. But, yeah. And
it's the self-love, too. I think we talked about that the last time that we chatted, that's such a big piece, is how you feel about yourself. Because we teach other people how to love us by showing them how we love ourselves. And we're always going to match vibrationally with people that are on the same level as us. So the more we can accept ourselves, the more we can acknowledge our whole self and accept that whole self, the higher we move up in that vibration of self-love. Mm-hmm. And so it's, you know, I really do believe that people are, we teach people how to love us by the way we love ourselves.
That's so true. That's so true. Because if you don't love yourself, I don't love you neither. Ryan, what's going on? Is Ryan related to you?
Ryan's my husband.
Oh,
that's nice that he joined.
Hey.
And Derek too. What's up, Derek? Thanks for joining. Derek does a lot of the same work that I do, but you know, his target audience is men. So amazing person to follow if you have, you know, a lot of childhood trauma specific to sexual abuse trauma. So thank you guys for being on here and supporting.
Now, go ahead and tell us about this clubhouse that you do. I have not engaged in it yet. People have been telling me to sign up for it, but I haven't.
You got to get on there.
Tell me what you do with that.
And so it's a new social media platform. I guess it's about 2 years now that it's been out. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's an all audio platform. So you only see a person's profile picture, mm-hmm. and then you hear their voice. And so it's a global app. So people from all over the world. But what I do on that is I have a club there. It's called the Trauma Drama Club. And every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I host a room mm-hmm. that is specific to conversations about trauma, specific to sexual abuse trauma. And then we talk about all different subtopics. Because when there's that type of trauma, when you're coming from a background, that affects all areas of your life. Mm-hmm. All areas of your life. This past Thursday, we talked about sexual abuse and financial freedom and how that is tied together. We've had conversations. We're going to have a conversation on body image.
Oh yeah, I can see how that.
So many different topics, mm-hmm. but yeah. So it's a wonderful space to get support. I have a lot of really amazing moderators who co-mod with me, and they specialize in, you know, different areas, mm-hmm. But all around supporting people who are trying to heal their traumas. So yeah, I'm loving that clubhouse. Amazing. I also do a lot of other rooms. That's my room that I do in my club, but I speak and co-moderate in other people's rooms. There's another one, Thriving After Childhood Trauma, that's really, really good, and Building Resilience. That's another good one. So many conversations that happen there.
So now, do I have to actually download the app, or am I able to just?
I think so.
You have to in order to engage.
I think so. I mean, I just downloaded the app because I utilize it. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Clubhouse. Those are my two main platforms. So I just have it. I've never tried to actually access it just from the web. You might be able to. Okay. Are you worried about storage. That's always my
I'm like
problem.
another app.
Another app. I know you're on so many apps.
Yeah.
I love that you're able to broadcast to so many places.
I'm so
And
thankful.
that's why you're able to reach people all over the world.
Yeah. I had no idea what was happening when I did it, but I'm thankful that I had enough knowledge and wisdom to be able to, create this. So
Yeah, the consistency.
yeah, which is
you're on every night, right? The 411 is every night.
we try to do it every night, but sometimes some guests don't show up, so
That's
it is
right.
what it is. That's just a sign that we need to group and keep everything charged up because
But even then, it's nice to get a little break.
Yeah.
Switch it up, do something different with the night.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesdays, we do the read between the wines, right?
Yeah. Reading between the wines, Wine Down Wednesday. You might have to come through and hang out with me on that because I know you like to drink wine too.
I'll drink some wine. I'm a vodka girl, but
I remember you telling me that. Yeah. What's going on, Miss K. Cole, Mississippi? How are you doing out there tonight? So, I have a question. This is a segment of the show where I basically flip it and put my guests in the hot seat, but I don't think that that's possible with you because I think you're gonna have the answers for everything. So,
I'm ready.
This is for a lot of people out there who struggle, and I know because some people have told me about it. I grew up with people, and hey, if it wasn't for all of the germs out there in the world, I think that I could be, a victim of this too. But being promiscuous, is this a sign of a lost soul?
I wouldn't say a lost soul because our soul is never lost. Soul is never lost. So I talk about alignment a lot, and alignment requires our three parts that make up this human that you see, and that's the mind, the body, soul, and the spirit. So if you think about the body, we all understand what the body is. It's the physical body that's always where we are.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about spirit, what spirit is whatever we believe to be our higher power. So whatever gives this body life, whatever higher power breathes our lungs and beats our heart, that's what spirit is. It's, people can call it God or the universe or love or energy or whatever word works for you. But that's what spirit is. So if your heart is beating and your lungs are breathing, then you know that spirit's here too. So then we have the mind. And I like to think of the mind as our soul in human form. So the soul is the essence of who we are. It's who we've always been. It's our the wisdom from past lives. It's what's going to continue on after this life. So the soul is the essence of who we are. But when it comes into this human form, it becomes the human mind, because the mind can be conditioned, the mind can learn, and the mind can retain knowledge and wisdom, and then convert that into other experiences. So I teach about alignment, that when the mind, the body, and the spirit are in the present moment, then that's true alignment. So when people think of like a lost soul or something, it's simply just us out of alignment. And our physical body is always where we are. The spirit is always where we are. So it's the mind that moves away from the present moment, that can, fear the past, that can have anxiety over the future, that's always, thinking about other things besides what's right in front of them, what's right in front of us. So if we are, if we are promiscuous, or we're, and I wouldn't even use that word, because everybody has the right to do whatever they want with their sexuality. But what I would say is that if what you're doing with your sexuality doesn't feel right, or it's constantly leaving you in that pattern of like the high and then the low, then that simply is just an indicator that when you're engaged in those patterns, your mind is out of alignment. So you're not like fully present when you're engaged in that. So if you can, if you can work on bringing your mind's focused attention to where you are and the decision that you're making at that time, it changes a lot of things. I want to also speak to the fact that many people who, who would consider themselves like out of alignment in terms of their sexuality, they come from backgrounds where there was sexual abuse. And that's important. That's an important piece, because when we experience that in childhood, these are patterns of energy that we can't fully process. The patterns stay in the body with us. So all throughout our lives, like you'll see it in the way children play, and we're always trying to process things that haven't yet been fully processed. So if there was sexual abuse in our childhood, and now here we are as adults, it's simply us recreating that same pattern, trying to gain an understanding around it, trying to process what happened to us. But without the awareness that that's actually what's going on, we're just recreating the pattern. We're just recreating the pain and that same pattern. But if we can look at it and be compassionate with ourselves and know that what we're actually trying to do is recreate the situation so that we can process what's still what we're still holding on to,
that's
we see
deep.
it differently.
That's real deep.
Yeah, if you need clarity on anything that I said, just ask. But
that burning question is gonna go in one direction and then went in another. I told you would have.
Well, let's take it to the other side. Let's see the other side.
Here's I've learned recently that certain cultures, they won't even touch. You're not even able to touch, because the mind, like you said, and the body remembers things. So, and you exchange energies, and some people say don't be so promiscuous because you're exchanging energies, and whoever this person slept with, now you are, and taking on their energies as well. So touching and kissing and doing all weird stuff that, well, it's not weird, but some cultures frown on doing too much of that, because
and some religions too, a lot of religions too teach that, and that's kind of hard sometimes.
Your body and your mind, it has crazy amount of energy that it's crazy, because energy and memory, you'll always remember. So if you had sex with somebody and you've never seen them again, and you fast forward 5-10 years from now, you meet up with them and you have sex again, your body will remember every single aspect of it, because we retain memory. So think about it, when you're out there being very promiscuous and interacting and doing the most with a whole bunch of people, you're getting all of those energy levels, and they say spirits exchange and all types of stuff, so I'm looking at it from that aspect.
Okay, so let me share something with you that I talk about a lot in my rooms, in the trauma drama room. I talk about these three parts, the mind, the body, the spirit. And in terms of sex and how a human is supposed to come into the knowing of sex, it should be like this. First, we learn it in the mind. So either we remember from past lives, or we learn about it in school, or we learn about it from friends, but we gain an intellectual understanding of what sex is. And then what happens is we connect with another human on a spiritual level. So there's this certain type of connection between two people.
You're saying that this is how it should be.
This is how it should be.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Okay, so first we learn about it in the mind, then we meet someone and we have a spiritual connection with that person. And then the body. And in that way, in that order, learning about it intellectually sexually, then making this connection with somebody else, and then experiencing it in the body, like that's powerful, and it's one of the most amazing experiences that we can have in this human experience. But what happens when there's sexual abuse in childhood is that our body learns it first, and body is designed with a pleasure system. Our body is designed for this. So if the body learns about it first, what happens is that eventually the mind catches up. Eventually we understand what's happening. We understand how to recreate the feeling that happened in the body. But the issue there is that so now the body and the mind are like, okay, we can make this happen again. We know what's going on. Let's do this. But the issue is that there's no spirit. There's no spiritual connection. So without having the spirit involved in that, that's why there's so much addiction. That's why there's so much abuse. That's why there's that's why we use people, because there's no like spirit there. We're not like connecting on that soul level. So it's just a body to be used for addictive purposes in that case.
Interesting.
So yeah, I just want to share that with you because that might kind of shift your perspective around that. If you think about in terms of, you sleep with somebody, you're sleeping with all the people they've slept with, that's a lot of weight to carry. And sometimes that can take the mind away from the present moment because we start thinking about the heaviness of that. But really, it's if we can keep the mind here and engage with that person from this place of our alignment and build like a spiritual connection, see the person for who they are on the soul level, not just a body to be used for our addictive purposes or to recreate a pattern, but another person, see them on the soul level, it changes everything. And then from that point, it doesn't matter what they're bringing in because you see them here as they are now, and that's really important, I think.
Again, that's deep.
I'm always doing the deep dives,
but yeah, you definitely
know that.
definitely clean that up and explained a lot. Yeah, because it's a lot of people say that. Be careful who you come and entangle with, and be careful because you never know what they're bringing. Be careful who you touch and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, was someone knocking?
Yeah, I'm like, can I mute my mic on here? So I just mute my mic. I'm like, go away. It's my children. They know I'm on a call and they know they can ask their dad. So
what
I
time?
just had to give them a reminder.
What time is it there now?
It's 8:50.
Oh, okay.
So I think you're 2 hours ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's 10 o'clock your time when this starts. Yeah. You're on the East Coast and I'm on Mountain Time.
I can't believe that it's almost time to go. Isn't that crazy?
It's flown by. By.
We were just talking all kinds of good stuff. So,
what other burning questions you got for me while you have me here?
I actually don't have any more, believe it or not.
Those were the ones,
How about you have a burning question for me?
Yeah, I do. I want to ask you, do you sing? Because I know you love music so much, and so you've got to sing, but do you do it like because you love it? Or?
I used to, but I don't anymore. I mean, I still sing, but as far as going in a recording studio, I don't do that anymore.
But you used to.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a passion of yours, like always.
Yeah, since since the whole Mary J thing, when she came out in 91, I was making music 11, 12 years old in the house and stuff, recording stuff. So, yeah.
That's cool. I talk about the alignment and how to bring ourselves into alignment. That's one of the things that I do with my clients is we identify something that they love on the soul level. And I find that it's usually like in 4 categories. It's either music, it's movement, movement, dancing, it's creating. So like some type of art, whether it's painting or crocheting or whatever, but some type of creation, or it's nature. So just insight. If that music is what helps you come into alignment, then use it all the time.
All the time.
Use it all the time. Yeah. And I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you have books about it. I wanted to ask you that too.
Oh, and it's coming on its way.
Oh yeah. You're gonna send me one.
Yeah,
Thank you. I remember
coming.
you saying that.
Yes.
Take your time. It'll be a nice, beautiful surprise when it does arrive.
Yes.
But
now that I'm back,
you got more books. You got more books in the making, or
I can't say
we'll
nothing.
see where it goes.
I can't say nothing just yet, but yeah, something's coming.
That's awesome, Larry.
What do you have new coming?
So I'm Clubhouse is my thing, and I'm really starting to get into like more speaking roles, speaking engagements. I did an online trauma healing summit last month, 2 months ago, and then at the end of September, I'll be doing a speaking event in Miami, and then I've been invited to do one in October in Tennessee. So awesome. I'm really trying to put myself in places where I can share my message out to more people, to a wider audience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's kind of where my focus is, and just promoting my my 5-step healing process. That's the foundation of the work that I do with clients. I walk them through these 5 steps.
Are you able to share the 5 steps real quick, or is it in deep? Okay. So can you?
Well, it could be deep, but I could also make it quick. So basically, these 5 steps that I've put together are what I have used through my healing and through all of my experience, everything that I've learned, and it's basically a guideline. It's a guideline for people who are ready to step onto the healing journey, and start dealing with these things. So the first step is what we spoke to a lot, that alignment. Mm-hmm. So it's more in alignment, knowing what that is for us. So just identifying those 3 parts we talked about and what it feels like for you as an individual. The second step is self-love, which we also talked about because that's huge. Mm-hmm. It's so huge in the healing journey. And I'll say one thing about self-love is that people have their own idea of what that concept means. But what I focus on is there's different levels of self-love, and the ones that I focus on are the ones way down here, because self-love is usually something that's non-existent for people that come from trauma backgrounds and homes where that wasn't modeled or taught. So there's these lower levels of that, and the first one is acknowledge our whole self. And you kind of mentioned that, like seeing your whole self sometimes is like, I don't want to do that. But if we can see our whole self, all the dark parts, all the parts that we hide away, see them, just acknowledge them. Just look at them and say, I see you. Mm. And then I'm not trying to push you away. I'm seeing you, and I'm like, okay, there you are. And that's where I'm at.
Right.
And that's it. So that's what self-love is in that second step. And the third step is releasing our denial and seeing our traumas clearly. Because a lot of times we build these walls of denial because we don't want to go to those dark places. Yeah. We don't want to revisit them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's important. It's necessary to come back into our alignment, to look at those traumas. And then thank you. 5-step helped me in a deep way. Thank you. That's Melissa. And then so the 4th step is seeing our addictions clearly, because where there's trauma, there's always addiction, because we're trying to escape the pain that we carry inside of us and that's constantly triggered by certain people or situations. So to see our addictions clearly and not to judge ourselves for them. but to see them as being something that helped us through a very difficult time, that helped us to deal with the heaviness of the pain that we carry. So is seeing them clearly, though, that's such a big piece, is at the end of 5 steps, what you'll walk away with is seeing yourself clearly, seeing yourself and your situation clearly. And from that space of clarity, you can make changes that you want, that you choose to make. And then the last step is just the tools that you need to continue the journey. So that could be, a therapist, a coach, a book that really helps you through something, that a good friend, clubhouse rooms that you go into, just different tools that help you along your journey. So that's the 5 steps. They're very simple, but they go very deep. And
one really makes sense. I believe it's number 4, right? Seeing yourself clearly, your trauma clearly.
Well, number 4 is addictions clearly. Seeing our addictions
clearly. Okay.
Yes.
That's very important because I wasn't seeing them clearly.
It's all right.
I was seeing them,
it's all right.
but seeing them halfway and only believing in, it is what it is. But
yes, we're so good at spinning things around to make it look the way we want to, or creating a story about something. But when we're really willing to look at, this is an issue for me, this is a pattern that I use to escape the pain of the present moment.
Right,
and it's just about the clarity, seeing things clearly, because it's from that space of clarity that we can really make the changes that are necessary to improve the joy that we have in our life.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I hate to see you go.
It always is. I know.
We'll have to do this again.
For having me again. We will.
And I need to get up on the clubhouse thing eventually. I will.
When you're ready. You do
I'm
supposed
to do an interview on there, so I got to get it together.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you need any, I'm all about Clubhouse. I love it. So if you need any tips or whatever, just to walk through the app, I can help you with it.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Definitely will be reaching out. Take care. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you so much.
Sounds good, Laren.
Always want.
Thank you.
Take care.
Lots of love.
See ya. Good night. All right, y'all. There you have it. Miss Leah Abraham, all the way from the middle. Thank you all so much for joining in and supporting Leah tonight. She was amazing. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Finally back on TikTok. Live Twitch. Please go ahead and like, comment, share. You can also click that link above all of my social media platforms and go inside of Volume 1.5 Deliberation Remix Journal, and you can get a copy of my new book for $7. And also check me out on Daily Motion. You can get close to the show. Not a lot of people know about Daily Motion, but yes, I'm on Daily Motion as well. And of course, I have to thank each and every one of you out there. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties. I saw there's been some disruptions, maybe at least 2 or 3 times, but hopefully everything worked out well on your end. And Miss Leah says, thank you to everyone that joined and commented. Appreciate you all so much. Yes, and we appreciate you for all of your knowledge and coming through, giving us some great inspiration tonight. On that note, see you when I see you. And of course, without thanking my dear producer, my Lord and Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give you all the 4-in-1 podcast, More Time in Life. Without him, none of this would be possible. And without each one of you out there supporting me the way that you do, we won't be able to make this thing happen. So thank you so much. And also, don't forget, we got a little hour break. I want y'all to go ahead and follow Mr. Alex Coquito on YouTube and see me on Midnight Vibes tonight. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and give me a little nap in so I can be prepared for Midnight Vibes, because it's going to be interesting. I'll see y'all in about an hour. Take care, y'all. Have a good night.